Alright, let's scroll straight into this one. So, breath work. Very powerful. It's something that I'm getting into more and more, and I'm going to really get disciplined on this one because I feel like the foundational base of health is aged urine therapy, less food, more fasting, and breath work is huge. So, informational-wise, what I learned today in the podcast, so I'm going to relay information to you, is and things that I know already, why breath work is so fucking powerful, and why does it dump? It's shown that intermittent hypoxia, which effectively is breath holding, so we've got ways of slowing down breath, and Khumbhaka is a specific way of a breath hold. Khumbhaka is what the yogis call it. So a Khumbhaka would be on like a Buteyko breath hold. On the exhale, you pinch your nose and hold it as long as possible. Controlled pause. You do that 5-6 times, or even once. That's called Khumbhaka breath retention. So I'm talking about specifically hypoxia, which is a lack of oxygen, starvation for a temporary amount of time. So when you hold your breath, you're giving yourself hypoxia, aren't you? That's an example. Another example of hypoxia would be Wim Hof breathing. When we do the 30-40 rounds, and then we go from the exhale and we hold our breath, and we can hold our breath for like a minute, 2 minutes. When we're holding the breath, we're also doing it in a hypoxic state. At these moments, when you hold the breath and do a retention of the breath, now, what happens is, there's so many things going on, I could talk forever, but I want to talk to you about the stem cells. One of the things that they found, science has found, is that the stem cells get released, and a major amount of stem cells get released from deep within the bone marrow, almost like reserves that never get tapped into of stem cells. We have stem cells in our urine all the time because there's some in the bladder, right? There's stem cells in a lot of places, but the deepest recesses of the stem cells caught up in the bone marrow won't get released until the body gets into a position of almost near death, right? This is why the body releases a ridiculous amount of stem cells from the bone marrow in a hypoxic state, because effectively the body thinks it's going to die, and when the body thinks it's going to die, it gives you superpowers. So all the superpowers of the human body kick in as soon as you tell the body you're going to die. Now, this is why I believe near-death experiences, people report amazing things happening in near-death experiences, because effectively you're telling the body, oh, it's going to die, so it just gives you some bliss, it gives you some information, it gives you lots of DMT, lots of stem cells and all that shit, it gives you loads of shit, right, just before you're going to die. Oh, another one, psychedelics do too. They release a serious amount of DMT, psychedelics. In effect, what I'm saying is, if you do your breath work right, a really long seam retention, if you do really long breath holds and hold your breath, you're going to release a serious amount of a lot of good things, not least the stem cells, which are really fucking powerful, not least a major surge of serotonin, dopamine, possibly DMT, that's psychedelic, you release a lot of that, and possibly other factors that are very similar to psychedelics that get released, because your body, when it thinks it's going to die, gives you those superpowers, which you can activate without taking psychedelics. Now, I'm all for psychedelics too, but, yo, Gaffrey, how you going, man? Yeah, basically, the stem cell thing is powerful. Now, what the yogis found is when they did the seam retention, I keep saying seam retention, breath retention, the Khumbhaka for a long period of time, they noticed that their brain, what they do is they notice intuitively about this stem cell thing. So the stem cells from the bone marrow get flooded into the bloodstream, and then what the yogis would do is they would do yoga, asanas, right afterwards. So they've done the yoga, the pranayama breath work, the Khumbhaka breath retention part, pranayama, would release the stem cells from the bone marrow and lots of other things, but the stem cells would go into the blood, and then they'd do yoga asanas afterwards, and they do specific ones to circulate these stem cells into the brain area, and then your brain gets superpower perceptions. That's where crazy shit happens, I believe. People that have 6th sense, 7th sense, 8th sense, high powers of intuition, they can see from the back of their head and all that shit. That's where I think it came from the superpowers the yogis were activating with the stem cells from the bone marrow, from the breath retention, because, like I said, the stem cells get released when you're nearly going to die. A lot of shit happens in the human body when you think you're nearly going to die. Now, we connect the dots with Wim Hof. Why do you think Wim Hof's so powerful? Because in Wim Hof, if you do 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, the first round of Wim Hof, you do 30-40 breaths. You hold for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Some people 2 minutes on the first round. It's like, holy shit. But at least a minute you can hold. It's a very long time compared to what you normally can do. Now, when you're holding your breath for that long, your body's like freaking out in a way, because it's like, I'm going to die. But then it doesn't die because then your body's like, oh no, it's alkaline. My body's alkaline, I'm oxygen, so I won't die. But the point is, your body thinks it's going to die. So therefore, as Wim Hof says, and he's fucking right with his intuition, I can tell. It activates your inula, the parts of the brain that never get activated. Like Wim Hof says this, and I think it's right. It's 25%. There's 25% more blood flow to the outer regions of the brain, the new part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which we overuse and we need to use for discipline, willpower, and shit. The underused parts of the brain are the emotional centers, the limbic in the middle, the inula, the hypothalamus. All these things in the middle are underutilized. So the yogi's trick, Wim Hof's found the trick. How can we bring back more blood to these areas and to reset the immune system, reset the hormonal system, and give us superpowers of perception? How can we do it? For example, lots of things. Breath work, holotropic apparently. I want to try that. There's so many things we can do. Breath work, holotropic, rebirthing. Wim Hof, that's the easy one, right? That's a very easy one for people to do. All that does is it tells you, in effect, Wim Hof and Khumbhaka's breath retentions tell your body thinks it's going to die, and when your body thinks it's going to die, it activates all the hormones, it blisses out, it gives you a fuckload of serotonin, a fuckload of dopamine in perfect amounts, and resets the immune system, so your immune system's working properly now. And probably heals your brain, heals trauma, fucking so many things. And on top of that, of course, the stem cells get released from deep within the bone marrow, which are used for other, I guess, are rarely brought out. Maybe in fasting they're brought out. But and then the yogis, like I said, manipulate the stem cells that are now released into the bloodstream. They can send the stem cells into the blood, and crazy shit happens. Think about that. Like you can have a psychedelic experience with just breath work. People have been saying it, and I think that's the one that I'd like to focus on. I'm still going to take psychedelics, of course. I'm not going to be close-minded and think, oh, I don't need fucking... I know some people like that. Oh, I'm not going to do psychedelics. You can do it with meditation. Yeah, good luck, bro. You're doing it with meditation. Getting high with just meditation. Why not use the hacks? Like a mushroom. Shrooms is designed for us to eat, man. So it's designed for us, probably, to experience these things. So do both, right? But the point is that you can get... When you give yourself a near-death experience... And we can all give ourselves a near-death experience every day when we do breath retentions. Hold your breath right now, as long as you can. What do you think you're doing? You're giving yourself a near-death experience, and that's going to bliss out. It's going to give you those stem cells from the bone marrow. It's going to give you high dopamine, high serotonin. It's going to reset the immune system, make so many things. That's the things we know about, right? It's going to give you a lot of shit. We can do that every day. We can practice breath work and give ourselves these near-death experiences, and they're going to give us what I heard in the podcast that makes sense to me, downloads. Why do you think I talk so fast? And why do you think I think like this? Part of the reason is because I do a lot of breath work and look after myself. Adrian's breath work too. I do a load of shit that slows my breath down and activates the inula and the inside of the brain. So I'm getting blood to the correct areas of the body. And my dopamine's probably the perfect amount. I'm not sure if high's always good for these things. That's my serotonin. You know, that's how we activate this shit. That's how we receive higher information. So every day we can give ourselves near-death experiences, and it's such a fucking great focus to... Instead of just doing psychedelics, you can have a lot of crazy experiences. Now, I know people say that if you do just with fasting too, that's another hack. You know, if these things aren't giving you results, I don't know what results are, but they always do. But you can go deeper with Wim Hof breathing, with Khumbhaka breath holds, with you know, these near-death experiences with breath work we're doing every day with the breath routine. We can go deeper and activate probably even more stem cells and more blissed out and more crazy shit when we fast and do it. So we're like... Say just 16-20 hours into an intermittent fast, go for it. Do your breath work before you eat your food. Best always to do your breath work on an empty tummy. You will find 2-3 days into a fast, your breath work will go fucking through the fucking roof. Yeah, cheers, Ian. By the way, thanks for talking about ejaculations that time when I posted like a few days ago, Ian, because after that, I connect the dots that night that I've been doing them after yoga pretty much consistently. So thank you. It's weird how someone can say something and, yeah, it just goes crazy. Oh, how many hours of breath work? I don't know. One thing I have been thinking about is if you want to really be healthy and get ahead of many people that are health gurus in the health world, because we all know a couple of health gurus on there that, you know, we look up to and respect, but I figured out ways of getting ahead of them. One way is to do more breath work than these people, because I looked at a couple of their videos of what they do in a day, and I don't see a lot of breath work on there. I don't see a lot. They're too diet-only focused. A lot of them are. Like, just diet, just fruits. Very little breath work, couple of affirmations in the morning and nothing. Bit of exercise, walk the dog and blah. It's so easy to get ahead of these people. Once you get ahead of people, You can be healthier and know more, not by reading books and like knowing the theory, but just by doing more. One way to know more and to receive more downloads, for you and your insight, just like I receive downloads and I'm spreading information to you and you spread information to me. One of the ways to receive more downloads and to get higher rates, focus on one thing: breath work. Yeah, we've got so many things. Think about this. Like I said, holotropic, try that out. Maybe make that habit. I'm going to try that out. Rebirthing, I want to try. There's circular breathing. There's, what's that one? Reverse breathing. I want to try that too. I'm doing at the moment Buteyko breath holds morning and night. Sometimes one in the middle. I'm committed now. I'm doing that. I'm doing Wim Hof of the morning, 4 rounds, and night time before I go to bed too. And maybe I'm going to splatter in some in the day. So I'm doing 2 rounds. By the way, Buteyko breath holds, I do 6 at a time. So exhale, hold, wait as long as I can, breathe, wait a minute, and then that's what I mean. 6 of those, that's my 1 round. I'll do one at night time, morning. Wim Hof, I'll do, it does take a lot of time, you know, so I'm not gonna lie, but then I've got time to do it because I'm obsessed with health. You can do little things. You want to do hacks, do the Wim Hof and Buteyko, and that's it. Don't do the others. Wim Hof only, I'd say, is probably the best. I do the Wim Hof morning and night. I'm adding in Kapalbhati. I'm going to do that, 2 rounds of that at least. So that's a good one, the Breath of Fire. Google that one. That's very simple to do. I'm also doing back on my doggy panting, squatting, which I'm going to do 2 rounds of. And I'm going to look to try out all the ones I've said. So, God, my God, breath working is a fucking great activation. I mean, it's great, but also, I do know something. It shocks me still. Aged urine supplants even breath work. I'm not saying breath work's not good. This video is about breath work, but trust me, aged urine in terms of a high in vibration, like a couple of weeks old, drinking a little bit, it can easily supplant 10 minutes of breath work. It's crazy to think about. That's the only thing I've ever come across that's more powerful than breath work. It's fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy, insane how powerful aged urine is to me. It shocks me every day. That's not just something that I say, although I do say a lot. That phrase is fucking true. It's insane. Cheers, Rose. We're spreading lodge. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Yes, oh, I did only nose. Yes, aged urine. Any hole will do for aged urine, as I wrote in my book. Get it in. Any hole will do, and you will have the best night's sleep of your fucking life. The best health activation of your life. It is breath work, by the way, aged urine, because that's exactly what it does. It slows the breath down in a fucking major way. It doesn't matter how you get it in. It can't help it. The high negative ions is what I'm going to focus on for my next book. Negative ions, and aged urine has a fuck ton of them. A lot of things have negative ions, but you drink a little bit of aged urine, it gets a lot in. So I'm going off topic a little bit. I don't want to go too much off topic. Just to recap then. Okay, recap. Breath work. You're giving yourself with breath Khumbhaka, which is the yoga term for holding your breath. That's part of the routines, the pranayama that the yogis did. So they didn't just breathe in, exhale. They held their breath often. So maybe they'd breathe in slowly, they'd hold their breath for 4 seconds, and then they'd exhale slowly. But that breath retention is where you tell your body, like, freaks out a little bit and thinks, fuck it, we're going to die. That's why you want to hold it as long as possible, ideally. You want to kind of force yourself. Don't be a pussy. Just hold yourself as long as you can with these breath holds. And each time you do that, you're telling your body, oh shit, we're going to die. And when your body goes into that fight or flight mode, we're going to die. It's in a healthy way, though. In a healthy way, because it's controlled. Controlled hyperventilation. It's controlled, so it's healthy. Each time you do that, you activate superpowers of perception. So you release high amounts, or should I say perfect amounts of dopamine. I think high amounts is wrong. Perfect amounts of serotonin. Your whole neuroendocrine system gets fucking reset to, like, perfection. So does your immune system, gets reset to perfection. This is why Wim Hof can have a disease go inside him, like a virus, and with 20 minutes of his breathing non-stop, that disease just gets fucking destroyed. He destroyed his own fucking immune system. How does he do it? Because he's doing the Wim Hof breathing resets the immune system back to fucking 0. That's how he does it. But anyway, and another huge factor, like I said in the subtitle in the video, is that the stem cell thing. I find it very interesting. Now look, you can guess, we do stem cells anyway when we do urine therapy. Your fresh urine has urine stem cells. I believe aged urine also has stem cells, but it proliferates, so it gets higher and higher. The count of stem cells in the fresh, as it gets older, day by day, gets higher. So we're already doing with urine therapy, and especially aged urine therapy, we're doing stem cell therapy, really. So you do an aged urine massage, like 1-2 weeks old aged urine here. Guess what? The stem cells are going to go into the brain. Aged urine massage into the neck, it's going to go into the neck, the stem cells. Right? You can do it like that. But another way for people that don't do urine therapy, if you just want to maximize your health and you think about stem cells, you want the stem cells in all parts of the brain, parts of the head, and you want it from the bone marrow, then by all means think of that as well. It's good. I made a post put the paper that showed it, the intermittent hypoxia, which is breath retention that the yogis do, which we can do with any kind of breath work, releases stem cells from the bone marrow. I find that highly interesting because you're just effectively telling your body you're going to die, and that's exactly what happens to people when they have a near-death experience. That's why a near-death experience just releases a shit ton of DMT, a shit ton of happy chemicals, of bliss chemicals. That's what's going on when you have a near-death experience, right? And that's also, I believe, what happens when you die. When you die, you just release a shit ton of DMT and all that stuff. And that's why when we do DMT, like chunga and all these kind of chemicals, ayahuasca and shit, we experience crazy stuff because effectively we're dying before we was alive. With psychedelics, if you take enough of it, you can die whilst alive. But when you actually die, all those chemicals and that bliss is going to happen. But you can have bliss on this earth in this duality-based system if you do breath work, and if you do a lot of breath work, and if you focus on breath work, and especially if you focus on a lot of breath work whilst fasted, 24 hours plus. All of those things you can experience. I look forward to the adventure. A lot. I've got a lot of shit to learn, but I will be talking a lot more on breathwork as I step up my game, do more fasting, do more breathwork, and have some more crazy experiences. I've already had some crazy experiences with dopamine, like a crazy vibrationally high. I'm already doing ejaculations apparently now pretty regularly, so I can't see why I'm not going to have any more crazy experiences to relate to you guys and how I did it too. It's not just about what I'm having. I don't really care about my experiences as much as I do about sharing it so that other people can replicate it, because that's the whole point, right? Life is fun in duality, and we want to have these kind of peak experiences. That's why I'm talking about things. I'm talking about peak experience. I'm talking about cancer, how to prevent cancer in this video, am I? I think we're not at that level, guys. I'm not talking to people about how to prevent cancer. It's not a passion of mine. It's just at a very low frequency that I don't think I need to worry about that shit when I'm doing my breath work. So much breath work in a day. You don't. You just don't need to worry. If you drink like a drop of aged urine every day, I don't think you need to worry about cancer. Like even a drop. I'm weeks old. You fuck. That would kill cancer. Yeah, you want the fucking truth? No, I'm joking. Once it gets really bad disease, it's actually quite hard to... Once a disease is really onset, it's actually... This is one thing that I had, it's actually true. It's not easy. It's actually easier not to have a disease, to maintain a high level of health when you're just okay, than it is once you've got a disease. It's actually really fucking hard. You have to put in a lot of work. Like, a lot of work. But us guys put in a lot of work without having disease. That's what I find hilarious. I spend a lot of time doing daily disciplines on shit without having to. Because it's fun. Duality's fun. I fucking like that shit. I hope one day to have a Kundalini experience. And the brain chakras, crown chakras to go crazy. I think I deserve it. Ego's talking here, but I work hard for my health, I'm not desperate for it. I'm not needy for it, but it probably will happen. I've had some crazy shit already, so who knows. And yeah, Master of Earth, he's a great guy. Definitely. I don't know what happened to him though. He stopped making videos, but anyway. Alright, that's it. Breath work, breath work, breath work. The breath is life, right? Meditation too slows the breath down, but particularly on this one, I was talking about the breath retentions. I think a key one with breath work, why the Wim Hof and Buchieka are probably my favourites, is because they actually involve holding the breath, and telling the body it's going to die, and the body's like, oh fuck, don't kill me, I want to live. That freaks the body out. In effect, it's a form of stress. And guess what? Hormesis, my favourite word, stress. And this is why hormesis and stress is the most powerful for the human body. When you put the body through stress, it activates superpowers. So, quick one before I go. For example, body stress, holding your breath, retention, Khumbhaka, activates superpowers. Another one, fasting, not eating food. The body thinks it's gonna fucking die, so it activates superpowers. Exercise, another one, stress, activates superpowers. The sun is stressful and hormesis activates superpowers. The cold therapy, stress to the body, activates superpowers. Go into Wim Hof for that. Does the same thing as fucking Wim Hof breathing. Massive dump of dopamine, massive dump of serotonin, resets immune system, all that shit. Stress is great. If you don't like stress, you're not into health. I know some people don't in the health community. They're like, oh, love and light. Oh, health, let's love and light, and let's... I don't believe in stress, Harry. I don't believe in hormesis. I just want everything to be peaceful and everyone to love each other and hold hands and hug trees. Oh, I like hugging trees too, bro. But guess what? You won't activate superpowers of perception by hugging a tree all day compared to actually going through the human possibilities of hormesis by putting your body under pressure. Ultimately, I'm with Wim Hof. I'm not at Wim Hof's level. Maybe I never will be. Who knows, though? I'll fucking try. Maybe. But hormesis and stress is what activates the potential of the human body. And, another one, the hormesis that activates stress in the human body. How about keeping still for a long period of time, which I talked about a little bit, but I'm still at a very basic level. I push myself. You know why? Because I'm a pussy too, and it fucking hurts, and it's painful to my body, which is why, guys, I signed up for a 10-day Vipassana retreat, which I'm on the waiting list, actually. I did it for an hour late, and I'm on the waiting list, but my goal by the end of the year is to do a 10-day Vipassana retreat. If I don't make it for this end of this year, I will do it next year, because I want to push myself, because guess what is really stressful? Keeping the body still for a long period of time is really fucking stressful. It's painful too, because the ego wants to move. But I'll tell you what, when you don't move, just like when you don't eat, when you don't activate superpowers or long fasting, when you don't move for like a couple of hours, my god, you activate some fucking crazy shit. I've done it once in the past, but I've really had some kind of chakra fucking release by keeping still when I wasn't even in health. Oh, that activates. Let me tell you, it's not just a bias, it's a fact. If you want to activate superpowers of health, perception, Kundalini rising, fucking chakra freedom, tons of energy, the quickest, well, the one to focus on is not love and light, peace and love, affirmations, I love everybody, everyone's wonderful, gratitude. These are all good things, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking the piss out of them. They're going to seem like it. The actual way to activate the highest potential is to push the limits of the human avatar. And the only way to do that is to test it out. To go in the fucking cold, to go and fast for a long time, to go and fucking keep the body still for a long period of time, to hold the breath for a long period of time. Biardi biar biar. There. Done. And Flow, hugging trees is great too. I love that too. I'm not taking a piss, but I am. I do think it's powerful. It's just I love Hermesis so much.